don't have to wait until you reach financial independence to start enjoying your life. You can do that much earlier and start living a life that you love and that's true to you. Welcome to Freedom Before FI. Using FIRE and life design techniques, we help you create freedom on your way to FI instead of waiting until you're retired to do the things that light you up. I'm your host Greg, a FIRE movement and life design enthusiast. If you're itching to get freedom now, then let's do this. Hello and a warm welcome back to the show. So we're now on part 3 of the major decisions that have a huge effect on how you live your life and your financial goals. Today, we'll be talking about choosing your career. Now, an average person will spend around 90,000 hours of their lifetime working. I mean, just think of the typical 8-hour working day, plus roughly about an hour just to get ready, like have a shower, make breakfast, prepare your clothes, etc. Include a 45-minute commute both ways if you had an office job as well. If you tally that up, that's around 10.5 hours, not taking into account the time when you're at home just thinking about work, or the extra hours after work here and there just to finish off your tasks. So if we took our 24 hours in a day, minus say 8 hours of sleep, and then minus around 10.5 hours of work, that leaves you only 5.5 hours of your personal time to yourself, which is realistically only around 4 hours as you have to cook and eat dinner and rest a bit. Of course, that would be different if you work remotely, but I just wanted to paint a rough picture. Basically, we spend a lot of time at work, either physically or mentally. So naturally, it helps to get this decision of your career somewhat right. If we spend most of our time on something that doesn't give us much of a return, in this case, it could be like fulfillment, money, new knowledge, new skills, or even new connections, it's definitely not worth doing. You see, we're trading one of our most valuable assets to work, which is our time. So we need to get a decent ROI, or return on investment. Okay, so there's 2 thoughts I wanted to share about career choices. The first one is that our life goals should influence our career choice. When someone's choosing what's the right career or work environment for them, I feel that their specific life goals should determine what would be ideal for them at that point in time. Okay, let me clarify that a bit. Like the career requirement for someone who just graduated and is looking for their first job will be totally different to say a mid-career professional looking to change careers. Also, what they're willing to accept will be different as well. So basically, your career choice will differ depending on your goals at that current stage of your life. Here's some examples. A recent graphic design graduate starting their career would probably want to look for an entry-level role or even an internship role. Their main focus is experience and less on pay and money. Another example is a teacher with a few years' experience who just learned about the FI movement would probably want to accelerate their path to FI. They might even think about changing careers for more pay. So their focus is on generating more income. Another example is an accountant who's in what we call the boring middle of their FI journey. This is basically someone who's been building their FI stash for a while and comfortable financially. Now they may want to do something more fulfilling and would even take a pay cut just to do so. So with this person, their priority is purpose and a bit less on the money side. As you can see in these examples, you need to take into account what your current life goals are, and that will help you identify what type of work that you need. Okay, so the second thought I wanted to share is about work configuration. All right, let me clarify that one too. You see, when we're thinking about careers, it's not always linear. It's not always just full-time work or part-time work. There are alternative configurations these days, or work setups. Now, I talk more about these alternative work setups in episodes 16 and 17 if you wanted to have a listen. Now, here are different example work configurations, just to give you some ideas. Okay, so the first one is doing your full-time role that pays the bills, but you also have a side passion project that pays into your fulfillment bucket. The second setup is you can work part-time on your passion project and then part-time on career work. So it's like 50-50. Another example is having a portfolio career, whereby you have multiple jobs giving you a variety. Another option is work sharing. This is sharing a full-time role with someone else and then just splitting some of the tasks with each other. Another idea is seasonal work with multiple gigs, basically doing different jobs at different times of the year. And then another out-of-the-box one is just taking time off to do volunteering. Now, I'm sure there's loads of other configurations out there, but that just gives you some ideas. Okay, so how do we actually choose a career? Now, in episode 36, titled How to Find Your Purpose, I actually take you through some practical steps which you can also use to find your career as well. So you can have a listen to that if you want. And in case you didn't know, I also provide one-on-one workshops to help people figure out what they want to do career-wise or even side hustle-wise. So if that sounds of interest, feel free to email me at greg@freedombeforefire.com. Now, of course, I don't want to leave you empty-handed on this episode, so I'm going to give you a quick guide on one way to choose a career. And it's only 4 steps. Alright, let's jump into this. So step 1 is to start by knowing yourself. What makes you tick? I feel that finding your career starts as an inside job. So knowing things like, what are you great at? What specific tasks people say you're really good at? What industries really interest you? What tasks can you see yourself doing in the long run? Are there any causes that you're super passionate about? And of course, think about your life goals too. Make sure you tie those in. Alright, let's jump over to step number 2, which is to define your ideal work characteristics. Like, what's an ideal working environment for you? What's an ideal salary, location of work? Who are you working with? Like, is it a big company or like a small one? Who are your clients? And then also think about the type of work setup or configuration I mentioned earlier. Alright, so you want to gather all this data from step 1 and step 2. This gives you parameters for you to work in. Alright, so step 3 is to create some career title ideas. Okay, so in this step, you need to come up with some possible work ideas that meet the parameters that you defined in steps 1 and 2, or at least close to it. So I would say come up with at least 3 to 5 possible ideas to test on the next step. Okay, so step number 4 is to test and experiment your ideas. So start by choosing 1 or 2 roles that jump out at you from your initial ideas list. Now choose 1 or 2 roles that you want to test and experiment with. Now there's 2 types of testing. There's the testing from afar, which is things like speaking with people in similar roles, reading blogs, watching videos about the role. And then the second type of testing is the in-person testing. This is you physically doing those roles. So this could be like internships, work experience, work immersion, or shadowing people in their roles. So choose which type works best for you, or you can even do a mix of both. If you've tested your first choice and it doesn't pan out, you can just try to test the next one on your list. Or you can even go back to steps 1 and 2 and adjust your requirements from your learnings. Now keep doing this until you find that one role you love. You see, it's just a cycle. It's a cycle of understanding yourself, getting some ideas, and then testing and experimenting. And just remember, it's okay to change. Our ideas, our goals, our likes and dislikes, they always change over time. Anyway, let's do a quick recap. So step 1 is to get to know yourself, do some internal digging. Step 2 is to define your ideal work characteristics. And then step 3 is to create some possible career ideas. So I suggested 3 to 5 ideas here. And then step 4 is to test and experiment these ideas and see if any of them stick, or if you need to repeat some of the steps. Thank you for spending your time with us today. If you need more help, you can check out our free guides and services on our website, freedombeforefire.com. If you have a burning question or just want to chat, don't hesitate to drop me an email at greg@freedombeforefire.com. If you found the show useful and want to be notified of future episodes, you can click follow on Spotify, Apple, or the app you're currently using right now. If you think the episode will help a friend or a colleague, feel free to share it with them. And lastly, if you learned just one good thing that will help you in your journey and you want to help us out, please do leave a 5-star rating on your podcast player app. That would help us out loads. Alright, so there you have it. I hope that's helped you on your quest for a new career. Again, Feel free to email me if you're interested with one-on-one career workshops. Have a great week, and I'll catch you on the next one. And as always, practice gratitude, live life by your design, and do things that make you smile. You got this.